Bitcoin has been moving very weirdly lately, with massive wicks from 120,000 all the way down to 100,000, random pumps from random points in the chart. So a lot of you are probably asking, what is next? In this video, we are gonna see exactly that. So first of all, let me start with the fact that 7 days ago, I told you that I had a short on Bitcoin at 126,000 and that I was expecting for another crash to come. We had a nice recovery from that wick that we made of about 13%, but I was telling you that I didn't think that this wick would be the low and that I had different plans in place. First of all, the short from the anchor VWAP, which by the way, we came very, very close to and had a massive rejection all the way down to 103. And then I gave you different options for longs, which one was at this Fibonacci retracement level from the wick, where we had no reaction, so no long trade was taken. And we actually ended up with a massive bounce from the 886, which doesn't typically happen. And to be completely honest, I missed this long trade, which led to a 10% bounce all the way up to 113,000. However, I did catch this long trade on Ethereum, which bounced perfectly from the 6.6. So I actually bought right here at about 3.7 and I rode it all the way up to 4.1. Now we're having a little bit of a retracement, but we will cover this in a bit. Anyways, I was telling you that overall my preferred scenario was the last one that I covered, where essentially I would prefer for a move to fill this wick completely and optimally reach all the way down to 96 and look for a bounce there. That's my preferred plan. However, since then things have changed a little bit. So let's look at what we have now. So it seems like Bitcoin is forming this triangle pattern, where as you can see, we have just rejected for a third time. And by the way, I took this short trade. As I said, I took another small short on Bitcoin here at anchor VWAP, invalidation just above the high that we had made. And I said, if we are to reject, this is where I would expect a rejection. So I took this short trade, as you can see, with my entry at 113,344. Which, by the way, I am still holding now from 113 to 108. And this was actually a very simple, aggressive short trade. We had this anchor VWAP from all-time high lining up perfectly with this triangle that we have in place. We also had this weekly naked point of control and daily naked point of control. So this was a good area to reject and to actually be protected. So that was a very, very good short trade that my community and I were able to catch. And by the way, if you want to join the free community, you can find the link under the description of this video. And now we are at a point where I have taken a very, very, very small long trade off of this SFP of this mini range that we have formed. So very, very small invalidation below this low. But I do expect to get stopped out because as you can see, we have some lows here, lows here, lows here that have not been taken. So I would expect for all these poor lows to be taken out very soon, to be honest. So here's my account. I still have my short trade from 125, which is all-time high. I've taken a nice profit on it. And as you can see, this is my long trade with very, very small invalidation. I'm about to get stopped out actually, but I'm only risking like $150. So it is not a big deal, considering that I also have this short covering me. And I have also this short trade on Blowfin. So I'm actually holding two different shorts and I don't mind taking small risks for a long. But I do, as I said, expect for it to be stopped out. So where can we look potentially for a next long trade? I have two ideas. One of them is the exact same one that I had given you in my last video, where I would expect for Bitcoin to keep falling all the way down to 96K, this anchor VWAP to move up, hit onto it, hit onto the old point of control and look for a bounce there. Hopefully a full reversal to a new all-time high. However, I also have to consider a scenario where we are in this triangle pattern that you can clearly see and that has been respected very well, and where this and this are now the lows. So what we could look for is a fake out of the triangle low, where a lot of people will get bearish, they will try to short. If we get a lot of shorts stuck here and we make it back inside the triangle, in that case we will have cleaned all these poor lows that we have here. We will have stuck a lot of shorts at the bottom. And then once we get back into the triangle, that's where we can have our long entry. And either way, if this doesn't work, I have this short trade from the top of the triangle. So whichever way this triangle breaks, it's not a problem for me. Because keep in mind that if this breaks down to the downside, first of all, I would not be taking this long trade because I want to see the fake out and entering back into this triangle before taking the long. And so I keep on making money off of my short. And then if we get this movement, I get into my long trade. And if this breaks up to the upside, I will get stopped out of this short where I already took some profit, but I will make a lot of money on my long trade. Of course, we don't know if this will keep on doing this and then eventually break up or eventually break down, but this exact movement is what I will be looking for and monitoring on the order flow. Because as I said, I want to see a lot of people getting bearish here and shorting. Then once we reclaim the triangle with all these shorts, all these people are gonna get squeezed, and that's what will potentially fuel the move to the upside. So very, very simple. I am short from 113. I will be looking for a long after this move happens. And if this doesn't happen and we just keep on breaking down, I will be looking, first of all, for this wick to be filled right here. This is also a potential long trade. Please look at my previous video if you want to know more about that. If not, I will be looking down for lower targets at 96K. So very, very, very simple. Now let's look at Ethereum really quickly. I think Ethereum is a little bit risking to lose this level and move down to touch this anchor VWAP again, where I believe if we go and take these lows, we could see such a movement. So another touch of the old point of control, another touch of the anchor VWAP, and we can look for that reversal. If not, we could also just hold this value area low and look for a rotation to the point of control of 4.3. And as I have mentioned before, if we are to lose this area between 3.5 and 3.3, I would expect for Ethereum to go back down below 3,000. As I've mentioned many, many times, eventually I would love for Ethereum to take out this 5,000 psychological level, where, by the way, we can look for a short that we could SFP or, for example, do a failed auction. So very, very quick overview. I don't want to make this too long. I'm only going to cover Bitcoin and Ethereum. I hope everything is clear. Once again, I will summarize. I am in this short trade on Bitcoin from 113. I am still in my short trade from 125. And my next interesting long will be on a fake out of this triangle based on order flow. If not, it will be off of an SFP of this wick. And if we fail to do that, I will look for new lows and a potential reversal at 96,000. I hope everything is clear. Remember that if you want more analysis like this, you can subscribe to my channel. And remember that I have a completely free Discord where I send updates and trades every single day.